They say America was discovered in 1492. But what if I told you America was remembered in 1492, not discovered? What if the New World wasn't new at all, but a land already touched by forgotten hands, charted by forbidden explorers, and whispered about only in banned manuscripts? Long before Columbus ever set foot on Caribbean shores, ancient sailors, medieval monks, wandering princes, and entire lost kingdoms had already crossed the Atlantic. Some left behind settlements. Some carved runes into stone. Some traded with native tribes. And others simply vanished, swallowed by storms, silence, or something far darker. Their stories were erased, suppressed by courts and churches, hidden under centuries of politics and pride. But the evidence remains, scattered like breadcrumbs across continents. This is the forbidden saga of the voyagers who reached America centuries before Columbus, a history buried not by time but by intention. They say America was discovered in 1492, but what if I told you America was remembered in 1492, not discovered? What if the New World was never truly new, but a land already touched by forgotten hands, charted by forbidden explorers, and whispered only in banned manuscripts? Long before Columbus ever stepped onto Caribbean sands, ancient sailors, medieval monks, wandering princes, and entire lost kingdoms had already crossed the Atlantic. Some built settlements. Some carved runes into stone. Some traded with tribes. And some simply vanished, consumed by storms, swallowed by silence, or claimed by something darker that lurked in the forests of a world Europe refused to acknowledge. Their stories did not fade by accident. They were erased, buried by courts and churches, suppressed under centuries of politics, pride, and fear. Yet fragments survived, scattered across libraries, hidden in monastery cellars, locked in Venetian cetacees. Each fragment a whisper of a truth too dangerous for kings to accept. But history leaves breadcrumbs for those who dare to look. The storm that would change everything rolled across the Atlantic like a living beast. Waves battered the nameless vessel with the wrath of 1,000 drums. Brother Aidan, a monk barely 30, clung to the mast as the wind tore prayers from his lips. It was 1178, centuries before Columbus, and yet Aidan was already certain that the world was far older and far stranger than any scholar in Christendom dared to imagine. The monks had forbidden names on their ships. Naming a vessel meant admitting its purpose. This one was a ghost ship in all but flesh, a vessel built for a mission that could never be spoken aloud. Only Aidan, a handful of sailors, and a king who wanted forbidden knowledge even at the risk of damnation, knew the truth. They were sailing west, following a map neither holy nor earthly. Aidan had seen the map once, drawn on lambskin, so thin it turned translucent near flame. It showed a landmass covered in forests, wider than any in Europe, bordered by mountains taller than the Alps. The abbot whispered that the map came from Irish monks who sailed west generations earlier. Most dismissed them as legends, their voyages romantic nonsense. But Aidan had touched the ink, smelled the ancient soot mixed into the paint, and felt the weight of truth. Something existed beyond the horizon, something Europe feared to name. When the storm finally died, the surviving crew staggered out onto the deck and froze. A coastline stretched before them, vast, untouched, gleaming under the early sun. Cliffs stained deep red rose above the beaches. Strange birds circled overhead, their wings shimmering like polished bronze. Aidan stepped ashore, his boots sinking into warm sand, his heart pounding because he knew exactly what this meant. They had reached a continent no mapmaker would acknowledge for centuries, but the land was not empty. The monks found a wooden cross standing crookedly in the soil. It was old, older than any sailor in the crew. Stones were arranged around its base with deliberate care. Beneath them lay a small wooden plaque carved in Old Norse. Two sailors translated it with trembling voices. "We turned west when God turned away from Greenland. Here we found forests without end. May he forgive our hunger." Aidan felt the world tilt beneath him. The Norse had been here. Not in sagas, not in drunken tavern tales. Here, on this exact shore. And the silence in the forest suggested they did not leave willingly. A few miles inland, they found the remains of a Norse camp. Collapsed shelters, rusted iron tools, a pot half buried in moss, a silver Thor's hammer pendant, a symbol outlawed in Christian lands. But the most chilling discovery came from the bones near a fire pit. Arrowheads of obsidian pierced several rib cages. Aidan picked one up, sharp, elegant, unlike anything crafted in Europe, and around them the forest watched. That night, the sailors heard chanting in the distance, rhythmic, rising and falling like waves of smoke spreading between trees. Shadows approached, figures painted in ochre and blue, carrying spears and stone-tipped weapons. The tribe moved with confidence, but not hostility. One elder stepped forward, carrying a basket of carved wooden figurines. The first was a Norse. The second was a monk holding a cross. The elder pointed west toward the distant mountains, his eyes filled with sorrow. Aidan understood nothing, except that the Norse had gone west and never returned. Years later, Aidan's voyage was wiped from monastery records, but fragments survived in Venetian archives. One such document referenced another forbidden expedition in 1284. Captain Bjarni Hafenson, born in the last Norse colony in Greenland, led sailors west seeking timber and land. His journal, the only surviving piece of the expedition, began with hope but descended into dread. He met tribes who traded peacefully, offering furs and smoked fish. But when he asked about pale men with long hair, their faces darkened. One drew three symbols: a cross, a winding river, a circle of sticks. Bjarni did not understand then. Later scholars realized the symbols described a pilgrimage site, a river like the Mississippi, and a ring fort, something long associated with Welsh explorers. Some claimed Bjarni met descendants of Prince Madoc, a Welsh prince said to have sailed west in 1170. Biadney's final journal entry read, "There is another people in this land, not Norse, not native. They build wooden towers, their eyes are blue. Their tongue is neither ours nor the tribes. They say they came long ago." Too long ago. After that line, the journal shifts to frantic sketches, a serpentine river, forests stretching forever, and a stone formation shaped like a human face staring with hollow eyes. Then nothing. Across the ocean in Italy, 1310 cartographer Paolo del Mare produced a map containing impossible details. A massive river shaped exactly like the Mississippi, a mountain range identical to the Appalachians, and a circular stone structure in the northeast. Paolo wrote only one note beneath his drawing, from the tales of monks who vanished and sailors who returned broken. The church ordered the map destroyed. Naples wanted it copied. Venice locked it away. But centuries later, settlers in Rhode Island discovered the Newport Tower, a stone structure eerily similar to Norse round churches built in Greenland around 1100. Paolo had drawn it a century before any European claimed to see it. By 1356, the French crown also heard whispers of western lands. Captain Armand de Rochefort led a secret voyage meant to claim new land before England or Portugal could. His ship found abandoned huts, rusted iron tools, and crosses nailed to trees. Monks fell to their knees, recognizing signs of earlier Christian presence. But deeper inland, Armand's men found something far stranger: stone pillars etched with Celtic spirals and knotwork, designs identical to ancient Welsh carvings. A tribe confirmed through drawings that pale-skinned settlers had lived here generations earlier, but then the forest swallowed them. Armand's journal ends abruptly, its final pages stained in dried blood. Portugal, too, brushed against forbidden truth. In 1423, a fisherman named Duarte Moura returned from a storm carrying a carved wooden paddle tangled in his net. The symbols resembled Welsh agam. He insisted he had glimpsed land beyond the fog, a place fishermen later called the island of Bacalos, when mapmakers later used the same name for Newfoundland. No one connected the stories. But Paolo del Mare might have all these fragments scattered across centuries and continents. Whisper the same forbidden truth. America was touched long before Columbus, and the world's powers spent centuries burying the evidence.